We are back on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk 1180, 1230 KGEO, 1410 KERI, 1000 KKIM, and now on the Internet in the San Francisco Bay Area on knookmedia.com.
Sometimes it's more fun off the air, isn't it, Marty?
I knew the three of us were going to get along.
Well, you and he get along. I don't know, me and him. I'm a little concerned here.
Yeah, so far.
Clay doesn't have very thick skin. I got to choose my words a little more carefully. He takes the front to almost everything I say.
Well, Barry, you got to remember, Clay's not too bright, so it's. Go ahead, Clay. You got a question for Barry?
No, I don't have any questions. I was curious where you live, Barry.
What do you have in mind, Clay?
Well, I thought if we were in the area, we could have dinner.
Did we just do this?
If you come to Yuma, I'll get
Earlier you said Phoenix.
close to Phoenix.
Maybe he's telling you something.
Yeah, I got the message. Okay, let's move on. Well, I guess I can start.
Sure.
I just thought, we're in California, and California's a pretty liberal state, and I sort of agree with Jerry Brown. Actually, I think we should increase the minimum wage to $12. We ought to increase taxes. Extending unemployment benefits is a positive. We can get a single-payer health system. We can legalize marijuana, legalize illegal immigrants. We can get benefits for all and pass the high-speed rail. So, don't you think that's a great agenda?
I like Barry's idea. Go back to sleep, Clay.
That's a great idea, and let the next generation pay for it.
Unfortunately, it's going to be the next and the next and the next.
Yeah, you guys are really spinning yourself into oblivion.
Oh yeah, this is insane. And then we're cutting off the water to the farmers, so we're not going to have any food, within the next year.
Well, we just go to the market. That's what that girl told me.
That's right.
Yeah, well, you've heard of the definition of politics.
Okay, I'll bite.
It's the Greek word poly, meaning many, and ticks, meaning blood-sucking creatures.
Many blood-sucking creatures. Yeah. I love that. So, you and I last time talked about Clay's favorite subject. This is something he's involved in quite a bit. Obamacare. How are we going to stop that thing?
Well, you stop it by changing the congressmen in Washington. They're the ones that voted for it, a majority, evidently.
Do you think Congress will...
You solve that problem at the ballot box. Now, once if the Republicans get a majority, and they have the free will, basically, or the votes to change it, the question is, what do you do to change it? Is the next question. But to change it, you got to have it's going to be changed at the ballot box. If you don't like what's going on, you change your congressman and your senators.
Do you think it'll be changed? Congress can change it that has the will, or do you think it would be the courts that'll be chipping away at this thing?
Well, there's still pending litigation in the courts. There's this one independent person, IPEC, Independent Personal Advisory Commission. It has life and death over how much health you get, who gets it,
right?
That sort of thing. That's still winding its way through the courts. The Goldwater Institute here in Arizona is driving that litigation. But no, there will be things that can be done. We definitely want to bring competition back. We want to eliminate a lot of this red tape. It's amazing. I'm just experiencing it now. I've got to go get permission from a primary care physician to go see a specialist. I never had to do that before. I've got to get permission from my insurance company. It's just becoming. Everybody's got their hands out. Everybody gets a little piece of the pie. It's getting very complicated. You don't know what you're paying for. I went to get some antibiotics for something for my toe, and it was $80. And I said, "Well, don't I have that prescription drug?" They said, "Oh yeah, it'll only be $10." But this is true throughout the whole profession. You don't know what you're paying for. You don't know how much it's going to cost. So we need transparency. We need certainty. And I think we get competition back into the medical field will reduce costs. And lastly, everybody needs to pay, come out of pocket. If you get something for nothing, you're going to abuse and take advantage of it. So I think if everybody had to come out of pocket for part of their care, that would keep the cost down. It wouldn't be overutilized. There's a lot of things can be done to change it and get it back to solid ground.
We're having a conversation with Barry Goldwater Jr.
Well, a couple of things I want to add to that, Barry. If you get sick and you're over a certain age, the Life and Death Committee will make a decision on what your value to society is, and they'll determine what kind of benefits you're going to get. Another issue, in my opinion, this thing I think is going to implode on its own weight in the next 3 years. The federal subsidies are going to terminate in 2 years, and specifically in the state of California, where probably 85% of the people enrolling in Covered California are on Medi-Cal, which means it's free. And then the rest of them, the majority of them that are on Covered California, are getting subsidies. And there's just no way that this can be sustained by either the federal government or California, especially with all the other benefits they keep passing out.
Absolutely, and you're right. Most of the people that have signed up are already sick, and they're not getting the young people to sign up who have to pay for all that.
That was one of the mistakes that he made by extending coverage to kids 26 under their parents' plan. Because why would anybody under 26 get this plan when they can go on their parents' plan, and basically the parents aren't paying any more if they've got other children on the plan?
Yeah, no, you're right. It was ill-conceived, and it's going to probably collapse under its own weight.
I've got one more quick question, just a personal question. You mentioned the Goldwater Institute. Do you work at the Goldwater Institute?
I'm on the board of directors.
And so
I don't work there.
Do you go to meetings there?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I go to meetings there.
Where are they located?
We had George Will here last week.
Where are they located?
They're right here in Phoenix.
All right, glad to know that. I was trying to find out where you were.
If you come to Yuma, I'll be waiting for you. The Goldwater Institute is a substantial organization that studies and publishes on issues such as taxation, education, eminent domain, spending. They're kind of a watchdog, and they do a pretty good job.
We've got another group here in California called the Pacific Research Foundation up in San Francisco. Sally Pipes, you may know Sally.
Yes.
Sally's been on our show several times, and she's written extensively on Obamacare. But they do, I guess they do similar things as the Goldwater Foundation or Goldwater Institute.
There are state-based think tanks all over the United States. They're growing fast and becoming very influential within the states.
Well, let's get them to think on how to get the Republican vote out in the future.
You bet.
Well, we got to do like we've always done, and that's just it's organization, it's motivation, and Republicans tend to do better than the Democrats on getting their vote out. We could do it again.
Yeah, and we need to. Barry, you mentioned George Will, and we had him on the show. He's been one of those people that I always wanted to interview. And the last question I had for him, it was funny because he's a baseball fanatic, and I said, "What do you think of the Dodgers and all the money that they're spending? Do you think they have a chance?" And he hesitated for a second, and he said, "Well, it's a little bit like the government. You can throw all kinds of money at it, and nothing will happen." So,
no, he's a terrific voice in the political discussion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no question about it. One thing Obama's done as far as Obamacare, he's changed this thing 34 times. And when we come back from the break, I want to talk to you a little bit about the rule of law and what you think. I mean, doesn't he have the right to do this? I don't see where constitutionally he has. Let's break now and tackle that when we come back. We'll be back in a moment on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk 1180.